The Set Free Virtual Summit is here. Now you may ask me, what's it all about? What's in it for me? There's 30 minutes of sharing from champions around the globe who will share their unique life experiences with us and what led them to perfect freedom. This summit is inspired by the writings of St. John Paul II and is about the desires of our hearts, our friendships, our relationships, and the quality of life that we all aspire for. We often think we know ourselves, but there's much more to love and to life. My team and I wish to welcome you to the Set Free Virtual Summit. Be blessed, friends, and be set free.
Ciao, hello friends, my name is Daniella and I'm here in St. Peter's Square to talk to you about sexuality, current trends and challenges for Christians today. So today the world trains us to be egotistical, to be self-centered, to shop in an obsessive way and to live in a shallow way our relationships. Although we have different social media like Facebook, Instagram, different apps, we are connected all the time, but the quality of our relationship is poorer. We live in a world of fragile relationships. So tonight I'd like to talk to you about a specific kind of relationship, love relationships. So I'm single and like you probably, I think we tend to search for love, for intimacy, for companionship, but because being alone gives us some insecurity. But nowadays, the truth is that even being in a relationship is not a guarantee of stability, because love is like a game. You can be playing at it or you can be played at. You don't know when it starts, and you don't know, when it starts to be authentic, and you don't know when it's going to be over. So it's also virtual and it's also unstable. So I think we swing from a moment when we want our, some stability, some connection, and to be in a stable relationship, to a moment when we don't want to commit. We are afraid of commitment, and this fear is also induced by the fact that we give too much importance nowadays to emotions. They're very powerful, and we always think that we need to have pleasurable moments. This is one of the hoaxes of society. It's a lie, because life and love, in order to life is full of sad moments, and also love, you need to accept some moments when it's not so exciting, So we live under the tyranny of the feel-good theory. So if it makes you feel good, it must be right. You need to do it, And who cares about the other person if the other person is sad or is left in her sadness, afterwards. So John Paul II, on this regard, talks about the importance not to use people. He talks about love joined to responsibility. We need to have a sense of responsibility. Today, the world allows us to see eros everywhere. It's in the newspapers, it's online, but it has no fixed address. And sex seems to be promising fun and pleasure, but at the same time leaves people more lonely than they were before. People who have a feeling of loneliness, if they have occasional sex, they may feel with a feeling of estrangement and frustration afterwards. So where is love nowadays? Well, love is being confused with lust or with desire. Desire tends to make us use the other person according to our need, you know, to our convenience. So once the person has been used, then you throw it away. Love is like consumer goods. It's like a commodity. It is like a book or like a box of chocolates or like a movie. Once you've seen it, you don't need it anymore, and so you get rid of it. So you can see how love has been reduced to consumer's good, has been debased love. So love that is something beautiful, something holy, something that makes us connect and gives value to life, has been reduced to something like an object, you know. So I think it's the time now that we need to rediscover the art of loving. And John Paul II, in his teaching, in his theology of the body, teaches us what true love is, authentic love. To love somebody means to take care of the person. When you love somebody, you nurture the person, you defend, you protect, and you want her to be the best for the other person, you know, even at a personal cost. Whereas desire leads you to take something from the other person and not care about his best interests. So this is something very important to remember. But John Paul II was also very innovative when he gave these teachings on theology of the body from 79 to 84 in this square, in Piazza San Pietro. So what John Paul II said is that our body is very important. We are not only made of a spirit, of a soul, but we are a unity of body and soul. And actually the body has not been appreciated enough. God created man in his image. God is love, and he created us human beings, body and soul, in two different biological ways, male and females. And he said, be fruitful and multiply. So he wants us to love, a man to love woman and woman to love man. And the most intimate exchange of love is through the sexual union, which is now not a taboo for us Christians. It is not. Although maybe it has been seen as something negative, it is something really pure, something beautiful. This is the most intimate and powerful moment of exchange of love between two partners. And this is why the church, and John Paul II says, it needs to be protected, it needs to be safeguarded. And the best place, the only place where it should be carried out is in marriage. So sexual union is the image of also God's Trinitarian love. And it's also an icon of our final unity with God in eternity, in heaven.
Hello friends, I'm with Brother Mario Rodriguez from Mexico. He's a seminarian from the Legionaries of Christ and he's 28 years old. Thank you for being here.
Welcome.
So, Brother Mario, what was your impression when you came across the theology of the body? How did it impact your priestly vocation?
Well, my first thought when I get to know the theology of the body of John Paul II was, wow, this could change my life, and this could change everybody's life. So it has been like that. I think there's a full potential in theology of the body that if every person in this world would know and would live out according to this, it would definitively change their lives for better. And that was my first impression. And it also has a strong impact on my priestly vocation, because I understood my vocation as getting to love Jesus in all the persons around me, and to be a messenger of this good news, of this gospel, not only of the theology of the body, but also of God's love, of the gospel to every person. And in order to do that, you will use your body, all what you are, I mean everything, my person, my whole person, to try to give that message of hope and love. So that was my first impression. That would change my life.
So how did you look at the body before reading Theology of the Body, and how did you look at it afterwards? Did your perspective change in any ways?
Theology of the Body has enriched my views and my perspective on my own body and on the human body in general, because it has driven me to a better understanding and a deeper understanding of my own body and of my relationships, of my being a son of God, and also son of my parents. So it has given me a lot of rich perspective and of the beauty of the human body, but also on the human life in general, on the human affairs, on the human relationships, like the marriage, friendship, brotherhood, sisterhood, all of that. It has really given me a deeper understanding, and it has and it continues to give me every single day a more deep understanding of these issues.
Brother Mario, what does it mean for you to be a man? And what are your views on true femininity in your views?
Being a man, for me, means to be called to 4 specific vocations. So the first one, you are a son. You receive life from your parents, but also from God. So you have to learn to receive life. Secondly, you are called to be a brother, even if you are the only son of your family. You have to share your life with others, with your peers, with your friends. That means that you have to learn how to take care of others. And then you are called to be a spouse, which means learn to love some other person, your beloved one, and to sacrifice yourself for others, for that person specifically. And then after all that, you are called to be a father, which means to give life and to generate life in others. And that's how I would describe the manhood. And I think it's beautiful to reach that goal of fatherhood, also encompassing all other 3 vocations.
Thank you. What about femininity?
Well, for femininity, I will say something analogous to this. So you specifically, but every woman receives her life. So she's a daughter. She also has to learn how to be a sister, to take care of others, to nourish life, and then has to learn also to love and to receive love. So that she's a spouse, and that means also to sacrifice herself in order to nourish the family and to grow up in her marriage, in her relationship with his husband. And finally, she's called to be a mother. So that's beautiful, to receive the love of his spouse and to become mother, to nourish life within herself. That's something of tremendous beauty. So it's something very analogous, also based on the 4 vocations every woman has on this earth.
Anything you wish to share with us about John Paul II? One of the teachings that has struck you in the deep?
To not be afraid of my own desires, of my life. He also, his strength, even in the most dire of suffering, in midst of his illness, he showed me how to appreciate human love, how to appreciate myself. He gave me a deeper understanding on my own vocation. So I'm very grateful to him, and I visit him every time I could at the Basilica. So I think that's a saint for our days, a saint really humble and a priest in love for his vocation, in love for God, and really close to the Virgin Mary. So also his story, he's a person like who has suffered a lot. First of all, in the Second World War, before that he lost his mother, then he suffered communist persecution. So he's been through a lot of suffering, but in the midst of all of those sufferings, he's peaceful. So his secret was his close intimacy with God. So that's a little of the things that I learned from John Paul the Great.
What is your message to young people nowadays to encourage them to spend their life for a good cause or a high vocation like marriage and taking care of children or family in a society that is so individualistic?
My advice and encouragement to young people and to people in general, it's to dare to live fully alive and to listen the most profound desires within their hearts, because sometimes the world or society or all the noise we are involved in just quenches all our desires, or just like calms them down a little bit. But my encouragement is to take the deepest desires you have in your heart and to try to fulfill them to the maximum. So don't quench that thirst you have for love in your heart. And also life on itself, it's demanding. And relationships, true love is demanding, but life itself is demanding. So you better do something beautiful with it, something meaningful. And there's nothing more meaningful for human life than love. So if you think that loving it's demanding and it's so much sacrifice to love, to take care of children or to love a spouse, you're right. Yeah, it's demanding, but it's also beautiful. It's meaningful. It will give you something that no other thing, no other reality in this world would give you, which is true love, your highest vocation on this earth.
Thank you. Ragazzi, qui abbiamo Marco
e Loredana.
Ciao.
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 Loro ve li presento come una coppia.
I'd like to introduce you my friends Loredana and Marco. They are a very special holy couple. After dating 7 months in chastity, they got married. This happened 3 years ago. And they exchanged their very first kiss at church after being married. They had both walked with Christ. He was a Christian, but he had a strong conversion. And so he was dating other girls before. Then he thought of becoming a priest, but his vocation was another one. And when he met Loredana, they both agreed that they wanted to keep pure. So they have a message for us. The first one is, our body doesn't belong to us. It's God's gift. It's a sacred temple that needs to be respected because it's where God the King lives. If we keep it pure, we won't have lost anything.
Camminavamo insieme, studiavamo insieme.
A second message is that when you date somebody, it's the time to study that person, to understand his heart, his intentions, his values. And you need to understand if it is the person that God intended for your life. So it's important to be mentally lucid, because if you let your emotions and your body control you, then it's more difficult to make the right choice. The other person is a sacred land. And besides that, remember, when you date somebody, as well as when you get married, you are three. Jesus needs to be always
Il
present.
prevale o è meglio dell'altro, una di serie A, una di serie B.
Another thing to remember is that the evil one is not asleep. Temptations from him will come all the time to try and divide you. So expect temptations, pray hard, have perseverance with faith, and have a strong relationship with Jesus.
Hello friends, I'm with Pierpaolo. Ciao Pierpaolo.
Hi.
And Pierpaolo, can you tell me how you live your life as a Christian in a world where chastity and purity are not considered as values?
Thanks for the question. You're right. Nowadays it's very difficult to live as a Christian because you're surrounded by very diverse messages, most of them from people that don't have Christian or spiritual values. They think that life is only for self-enjoyment, and very often look also at their own body and other people's bodies only as a source of enjoyment. And it's difficult sometimes to transmit what I believe as value, that we are, as human beings, we are a temple of the Holy Spirit, and we are human beings made of body, soul, and spirit. And despite all the natural pulsions that comes from body and the mind, we try and be guided by the spirit. We try, obviously, we got plenty of limits as all human beings, but we try to get inspired by the spirit in all decisions we take. And in my daily life, I try and with my behavior, sometimes with what I say, if I invite it to discussion, to also explain others what is the importance of human being, and the fact that even physical relations should be ordered with a spiritual dimension on top. So again, if we were not guided by the spirit but by our body pulsions, we would be exactly like animals. And I think it all starts by letting people feel that they should respect themselves, value themselves first of all, also to be able to maybe avoid the trap of feeling or ended up judging into toxic relations or this type of stuff that sometimes originate where people don't have enough estimate for themselves. In my view, is always a temptation by the devil to feel inadequate, not worth it, etc. While the message from Jesus Christ is that He loves us 100% exactly the way we are, because He created us the way we are. So by being based in His Spirit and having a good self-estimate is the first thing to say, hey, don't forget that you're the temple of the Holy Spirit, so try and live accordingly.
What, in your opinion, has changed from the past with regards to the physical dimension of love, the approach to love, and the way we use our body to express this love?
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the question again, quite fascinating topic. Many things has changed. I mean, there is a part of the society which is looking at the physical dimension of attraction without any link to any other dimensions. But although we have plenty of examples of people that get destroyed by only having the physical element or the physical dimension of a relationship, in my view, again, what has changed is that mostly push from again, hedonistic approaches. Sometimes people don't value all the dimension of love accordingly. And again, the exclusivity of love is very important. The fact that you certainly the physical dimension is very important. I'm very happy when I'm attracted by beauty. Is God gave us beauty to give some hints about how beautiful God is Himself. So when you see something from a beautiful sunset to a beautiful girl, you thank God because of beauty. But again, this again shouldn't, in my view, shouldn't be. Sometimes we forget about the goal of where things are put in our path, and we maybe we just focus on we might focus on short-term enjoyment and not think about how everything's got a place within God's design. So in God's design, we might want to understand that without physical attraction, men and women, probably there would be no kids and there would be no human beings in the future. So again, that doesn't mean that should be mandatorily every sexual relationship mandatory to be able to procreate, but certainly you shouldn't be avoiding that per se. So it's a way to express love, and since we are human beings and we're made of body, soul and spirit, we use all of the dimensions we have as human beings to communicate love to the one we chose to love.
Okay, thank you. Very
You're welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Ciao a tutti.
I'm here with Paolo, and I'd like to ask him another question. What is the strategy that the evil one uses for people when they are single and they want to be in a couple? What does it do to keep the potential partners apart?
Sostanzialmente il maligno non opera soltanto.
The evil one was originally a beautiful archangel, and he was enjoying the presence and love of God. But after his rebellion, he's been forced to live in darkness. But being a rebel by character, now he wants to destroy all forms of love out of revenge against God. When he sees a couple in love, he starts manifesting such great suffering that leads him to destroy that love, that same love that he experienced when he was with God. This is why he uses all the strategies to attack love and married couples. He uses the moments of the couple's weaknesses to tempt them to make one of the two partners cheat on the other. These attacks against the couple are repeated several times, so the couple is worn out. So both spouses need to live a life of prayer. This preserves the couple from the attacks of the enemy. However, the enemy does not only attack formed couples united by God, but it also attacks people who are single. Because if they do not meet up, if they do not start dating and getting engaged, they don't get married and they don't have kids. So if our God is a God of life, Satan is a God of death and destruction. God is pure creation. Instead, Satan aims to destroy what God has already united and what wants to be united as well. So when we are in front of people who have been single for a long time, there may be the influence of the evil one. So again, even for singles, the solution is a walk of faith, prayer and sacraments. There was a real case when during the blessings of an exorcism, the evil one explained that he uses strategies to make two single people stay away from each other, and even people who are going out, who are dating, he blocks them. He puts himself as a pillar in between. So if they manage to meet and kiss, he starts getting angry because he sees the beginning of a love story. And the solution in this case, again, is prayer, sacraments. Healing the wounds of young people is very important, because the evil one knows and likes to play and to work and to drill where the wounds of young people are, especially if they come from the family or for society. And that's why Saint John Paul II was so much hated by Satan. Actually, Father Amorth forced Satan during an exorcism, to explain why St. John Paul was so hated by Satan, why his intercession created so much suffering in the evil one.
And Satan replied that John Paul II destroyed all these plans. And when Father Gabriel Amorth said, how did he manage to destroy all your plans? And the evil one replied, he subtracted a lot of young people to me. So, talking about the wounds of young people, the evil one knows the weak points, the weaknesses of young people, and leads them to a life of alcohol, drug abuse, or unrestrained sexuality. So he creates confusion. John Paul II's action has limited the action of the evil one, taking young people to prayer, to church. So the assistant of Father Amorth says it's very important to pray the rosary. He cannot stress enough how powerful the rosary is. But the devil one hates it in a special way. He cannot stand it. He even snatches it from the hands of the exorcist assistants. So his advice is pray the rosary, pray the rosary, pray the rosary.
Taking care of people.
So the physical dimension of love for us Christians is important. It is important, and we need to recognize it and to appreciate it in the right way. In fact, the correct Christian morality doesn't say that if you have sex with somebody, you're going to go to hell. Rather, it says, recognize, Christian, your true value, your true worth. Because we are made in the image of God, and we are a sparkle, divine sparkle. We need to remember that we cannot let ourselves go so easily, so quickly. It's a value. And apart from recognizing our dignity, our worth, I think it's important to recognize our free will. This is a gift of God. God created human beings with the freedom, and the freedom He has given us is for us to do what is right. I'd like to quote to you John Paul II. He says, freedom consists not in doing what we like, but in having the right to do what we ought. So it's important to have self-control. This is a word that nowadays is hardly heard, but it's important to have self-control of our emotion, our thoughts, and to train this in our relationship before also we get married, because it will be required. It's important that we recognize we human beings, we are not like plants or like animals, So first of all, recognize your worth your dignity as a human being. Second, recognize your freedom, your free will. And third, we need to recognize the lies of the world. It doesn't matter if everybody does it. Many people out there don't know what's best for them, Some people are frustrated and then just enter a relationship like that in order to fill the void that they have inside. Or they've been taught like this, or they feel lonely, and it's not that they are doing the right thing. So we need to set an example. Now, as for me, as my past and my history, I can say that I agree with John Paul II's teachings, and I wish I had read them much earlier in my life. It is tough. Love must be tough to be true. But when we go to the gym, when we study, when we go to university, whatever has got value has been, suffered. There's sweat behind it, If you want to run a marathon and win a medal, you have to suffer for it. But it's the suffering in it that gives the worth of it. Its value. So I think true love, authentic love, needs to be pursued wholeheartedly, And I can say that I'm lucky enough to have had the example of my parents. They are still together. They've been married for 53 years. And when they celebrated their wedding anniversary, I asked my mom, how come you are still with Daddy? How have you been able to carry on this relationship for so long? And her answer was, well, I try to make Daddy happy. So, thinking of the good of the other person, of making the other person happy, is really beautiful. It means that you need to be mature as a person, and you cannot be superficial or egotistical. Love requires commitment, it requires grit, determination, communication, and sometimes you have to give up your own desires in order to please the other person. So this is the first example I can say in my life. Then when I was in university in England, in London, the Roman Catholic priest told us about exclusivity. He said, imagine you're in a room and there are several girls and a guy comes and offers you a rose. And you take the rose, and how do you feel? You feel special. You feel, exclusive. You feel you've been selected. And that's was so beautiful, such an example. But then he said, imagine instead if the guy afterwards gives a rose to all the girls in the room. How would you feel? Well, I would feel that the gift is not so special, So it's important to keep this example in mind and to remember how precious a gift can be if it is given just to a special person. Well, apart having said that, I'd like to say that in the past and nowadays, I've seen so many girls, especially girls, suffer when a relationship is over because they've been believing in a guy too soon, or they were with somebody who was not mature enough. And I've seen so many hearts broken. I see even nowadays, the hairdresser or young people, somebody has been hurt and they close their heart. They don't want to be in a relationship anymore. And it's very sad. Or somebody starts using people because they have put a wall around the hearts because they don't want to be hurt again. So they try not to commit. And so we have to unmask the lies that are around and try to understand that you cannot rush relationship. You need to know yourself. You need to know your values. You need to know your priorities, your project for life, and God's given maybe design for you and your life. And also you need to know the other person. So especially young people, they should not start having close relationships too soon, because it's important to walk together with the person. And I've learned in life how beautiful it is when two people who are different, two friends, walk together and they improve each other, they learn from one another. It's said that the iron sharpens iron. You can learn from the other person to be more patient, maybe, for me, for example, to be more quiet. And you can teach the other person, something that it's easy for you, it's your quality, So I encourage you to do that. I want to say that being alone, being single nowadays is not easy. It's a battle, but I think it's the right battle because other people may be in relationship for the wrong reasons. So I want to give you just a few examples of what I do to live life in a joyful way, because we all want to be happy at the end of the day. So I say, take care of yourself, take care of your body, practice sports, have interests, have hobbies, try to learn new things every day. Try to find your identity in Christ, on who God says you are, Try to realize how precious you are to Him. He will also heal your wounds if you have any wounds inside. And with this deep knowledge of God's great love for you, you will be radiant, and people will be looking at you and will wonder what is the secret of your joy, In this way also, you are not so needy, because it's not nice to be needy, You can be a fulfilled person if you are resting in God's love. So, as I said, try to take care of your body by practicing sports, have interests, know your worth, know your identity in Christ, and don't settle too soon. As Madonna, the singer, says, don't go for second best, baby. Put your love to the test. Have high standards. Your standards will be as high as your love for yourself will be. And sometimes, when you feel lonely also, you can grab the rosary. It's a powerful weapon that we have, and Mother Mary will take care of you. She will lead you, and she will be your example also. So to conclude, I'd like to show you an image of Jim Caviezel, as you can see here. He is the actor that starred Jesus in Mel Gibson, the movie The Passion of the Christ. When I asked him, I met him in Rome. I was so blessed to meet him in Rome. And when I asked him to take a photo, he invited his wife to join in. And I thought, how nice, how thoughtful of a man is to include his woman in a picture. So he is not just a great man of God, a faithful Christian, but he's also a committed husband. And as John Paul II says, life with Christ is a wonderful adventure. And I say, love is what gives life color, what gives it taste and beauty. So don't let anybody steal the joy in your life and the love from your heart. Keep love authentic, keep love pure, keep it fun, keep it holy. God bless. Ciao.
I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You will lead me through the fire, and in darkest night, you were close like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God.